Hello everyone. Sound check. Works. It's good. Good evening. So we're back for another evening of 3D printing. Your weekly dose. Yeah, let's welcome everyone. Toxic Father 45. Toxic Father 45. What a name. Welcome to the stream, Charles Lemansky. Hi, Zion. Welcome. Evo Clock. Hello, Zion. Yeah, that's so far. Everyone saying hello. You can leave a comment, leave a chat message to everyone if you're there. Want to welcome everyone to the stream. Let everyone else know that you're here, where you're coming from, and what time it is. Thomas is also there. Hello. Massachusetts is 3 p.m. Nice. Massachusetts. Awesome stuff. That's great that people from the US are also watching. I'm always like thinking about the time, like today. It's 9 p.m. in Germany. Lunchtime for AZ Cowboy 1. Hello. Great to have you. Lunchtime, that means West Coast. Pacific time, I guess. Great. Yeah, keep going, keep going. Let everyone know where you're coming from, what time it is. We're gonna chill a little bit. We'll have a few things tonight. I have a few repairs to do. First of all, two of my little filament brackets broke. I don't know, somewhere this week, someday. So these little hooks here broke off the wall, or broke out. And I mean, in this specific case, I know why this happened, because I remember that when printing these a couple of these brackets, we had some under extrusion issues on the printer, and also the material was, I don't know, this probably wasn't the right choice for this purpose, so it wasn't that rigid, but it's also suffering from under extrusion on the printer, and the infill settings were kind of skewed a little bit. So this thing broke off. So I think it was in the upper right corner, yeah. So these were kind of coming from the wall. Also one of the middle sections broke, but you can already see that the layer adhesion for this specific pair wasn't that great. So we can just snap it easily. Yeah, so that was probably a printing issue a while ago. So these are all kind of garbage. I started printing new ones to replace them, and I also want to add a few more up here. So on the right hand side of the studio, we still have 1, 2, 3, 4 full size panels, and one that's a little bit more narrow. I think actually we need to create a custom version of this middle section. So actually where the filament is sitting on. So this, yeah, tube here. And so we need to create a shorter version. We're going to do that in Fusion later. And so we want to replace the one that is like missing in this corner here, and we also want to add all of the missing ones up there. So the purpose of this exercise is that I want to move all of these empty spools, which are basically just empty Bambu Lab spools, from either Bambu Lab Filament that I have been using or the spare versions that came with some of the printers. I want to move all of them to the other side So we always, like, we just have filament on this wall. And we have a couple of the spare ones on the other side. Just for like having things organized properly, because I also need more space here. We're running out of space on the filament wall. And I can see, I mean, we still have some, we could have some more filament holders in the bottom row. So there is probably a little bit more space on the bottom, but we can't see that anymore. So, but actually I'm pretty much running out of space there. So let's do let's get on. So this is one of the things I have to do tonight. Other thing that I want to do tonight is I want to figure out a few more things that we want to put on the IKEA wall here, on the SKADIS mounts, because I have so many tools that are still not having any proper attachment to the studio wall, and I'm kind of tired of using the boxes here to basically, I'm always throwing everything into the box, but I definitely want to utilize the SKADIS wall more. So for example, having mounts for these kind of brushes here, or this little guy here, which is the spatula. So a couple more things that are normally just dumped into this box. And then also have things like this, which are just screwdriver sets, but I use them most likely every single week. But I want a dedicated space on the back wall for this, so I have it at hand when I need it. And it's not just going into the box, because the box is really painful. And then we'll also have to figure out what we do with all of these little spray cans here, activator, for example, for the AC glue, the 3D lock, my vacuum pump. So we'll probably add a few more mounts for that as well. So that's what we're doing. And one of the things that is a little annoying with printing these attachment brackets, you need supports. It's not avoidable. Unfortunately not available, but it's also not super painful. I mean, removing these little supports isn't such a huge deal. So when you have a pair of these, let me find one that is already ready. This one. So these go together. So this is the SKADIS hooks basically, which go into the wall. So we hook them into the wall, and then we have these middle tubes here, which are connecting, or which are basically just inserted here with some connector pieces. The connector pieces are usually just sliding into the tube, but what I usually do is just glue them in so they are not falling out. It's just more convenient. So one of the first things here is basically gluing all of these little pins in. So we have that ready. Good. It's quiet in the chat. People, let me know what you're doing, because I don't want to be alone here. Let me know what you're currently doing and what you're up for, questions that you might have. Just put them in the chat, and I will be trying to answer them. While I'm gluing these connector tubes, making them ready for mounting. Definitely can tell you that the last week was better than the week before, so I actually got more stuff done. I actually got to finish the video about the Creality Space Pi Filament dry box, which was one of my more, I would say, straightforward videos where I finally came back to a structured approach of making the video using a script. And it felt actually good. Felt really much better than a couple of the previous ones where I was kind of, I don't know, didn't have such a structured approach and was kind of winging it. And so, yeah, I felt that coming back to a more structured video creation approach could make me happier, which is actually true, which I can absolutely confirm. So what's happening? JG 2715, sorry, still at work, otherwise I would be more active. No problem. I mean, do what you need to do. We're just chilling here, doing some stuff here. Toxic Father, I have a regular PEG board, not the SKADIS board, so I'm really intrigued in what you're building for your wall setup. Yeah, I have started printing out the wall panels, so everything here, all of the panels are 3D printed. First of all, before I did that, I was actually thinking about getting the original panels from IKEA. They're not super expensive, but I mean, if you add it up and you want to cover the whole studio, then it is also quite expensive, I would say, or comparable. And I calculated like the estimated cost for making 3D printed panels and came to the conclusion it could be cheaper. Never did a fully thorough calculation, honestly, but I was kind of estimating how much filament I would be using, and in the end, it must have been, I think around, was it 20 kilogram or something? Or 15, I don't remember actually. I probably have mentioned it some way back, but I think it was, yeah, it was kind of maybe something around 20 kilo. Sounds much, but like if you consider that these are like 150 panels overall, it's okay. And if you would have to buy them from IKEA, you would probably end up with something that's more expensive. That's at least what I came up with, and so I said, okay, let's print them. And it fits more like the theme of the channel, of course, because everything here should be like, I said, hey, let's make everything 3D printed. It makes more sense. It takes longer, of course, because just printing the stuff took me a couple of weeks. But if you look a little bit back in the history of the videos, then you can also see the progress. At some point, I started in this corner here with the color panels where I just started using all of the rest filament that I had with different colors. And then I decided, okay, maybe these kind of colorful wall this is a funny thing for the filament wall, but it's probably not the best for the back of the studio. So I decided to select one color, one gray. Also not white, because white is not good if you're working with cameras. So I decided to go with gray and then started printing all in the same material, and that actually was a challenge because the material wasn't available all the time. So I was lucky to get enough spools at some point to finish the project. And I also tried to make it somewhat sustainable by using a material that's recycling plastic. And that's from 3D Jake. So it's some kind of bio, I think it's called bio material, or what they're calling it. So it's made from, it's not like PLA or it's similar, but it's definitely material that is from recycled plastic and more sustainable. And that was one of the things that I wanted to achieve here. Yeah. And yeah, I would have to look back into the history of the channel, how long it took to finish this. But yeah, it must have been at least, I don't know, a month or so. with some interruptions, of course. But at some point, I was really running all the printers all the days, 24/7 to finish it at some point. So I started quite slow and then I realized, okay, I have to speed up things a little bit because otherwise I won't finish. It would be taking so long. And I wanted really to start attaching stuff. And yeah, the other part was attaching this to the wall. Like, the good thing is that we have, there's all, like everything behind the panels is a wooden wall. So like in Germany say Nut and Feder, so these are like the boards that are having these, that you can interconnect or you can push into each other a little bit. And so this is what's covering the actual wall. And then it was super easy just to screw the stuff on top. And I remember that I have been using, I think I started using a box of 400 screws, which I consumed completely. And then I bought a second box of 400 screws, and I think I consumed, yeah, maybe a quarter or something of that. So like one full box, like around about 500 screws that I've been using here. So quite some stuff. Okay, so the connectors are almost done. The purpose of those is, again, is basically just loading the filament on top and connecting the brackets. It's not all glued together, so only the insertion pieces. I mean, you can also not glue them, but I prefer to at least glue them into the connectors so that's not always falling out when you start assembling the stuff. It's a little bit easier. And then we can start putting this to the wall. So you see how this comes together. I'm going to give it a few more seconds for the glue to dry. And I will continue removing all of the support. Actually printing another connector at the moment because figured that I have one of the longer versions to do. And we still need to create a short version for the last section in the upper right corner, which I don't have yet. So let's do that. Were you printing one panel on each printer at a time? I think I was running 3 bamboo printers at any given time. And the interesting part was that to do that, to print these panels, I wanted to make them as big as possible. So I wanted to utilize the maximum print volume. Because, yeah, that means less screws, because every single panel needs 4 screws to attach. And so I had to modify each of the Bamboo Lab printers with a little pin that they offer, or I mean, this is an official mod from Bamboo Lab, because you cannot use the full print volume of the Bamboo printers unless you are blocking the filament cutter. And if you're blocking the filament cutter, which is in the front left corner, you can basically also use that little corner to print. And you cannot use, the downside of that is you cannot use the multi-material unit, because that requires this filament cutter to work. But yeah, that was the only downside or the only condition to actually do this on the Bamboo printers, and then it all worked out pretty well. Some hiccups sometimes, I mean, some of the panels didn't come out perfectly, but I moved all of the, I mean, some of them had some visual, I don't know, maybe some stringing issues or something. Then I was moving them just to the lower part of the studio wall so you don't see them so much. But yeah, most of the panels came out really nice. I would say probably 10 of 150 panels have some visual issues, but nothing serious. But yeah, this is still, I think, is quite a good rate of problems. And actually, like, really no failures, except that, yeah, maybe some of the initial layers weren't perfect, and so you could either scrape it, or I just went, say, continue printing and put the panels to a place where you don't see them so much. Because functionally they're still totally fine. But the thing is, with these kind of panels, this is like everything that you see here, all of these surfaces are the first layer. So if the first layer isn't perfect, or is like visually having issues, you will see it. And that's why it was so important that all of the panels at least have the same look in the first layer. And you can imagine that this is not always 100% easy if you're using the full print volume. The whole build surface, it's actually, yeah, I would say it's not a given that everything works 100% perfect all the time. Okay, so we're getting there. So, new faces here in the chat. Andriam3D, hey, good evening. We're just doing some filament spool holders. And Ingo Pool, welcome on YouTube. So I am finishing the brackets for my filament spool holders. Sometimes the supports is really super easy to remove. Sometimes some little strings are still there, but overall I would say that wasn't too hard. So now I'll show you what I want to do. We'll take two connectors, right, and put them in these side brackets. So that's how we start. Then we connect this. And then you can just put this on the SKADIS wall. And we're gonna do this up here. This is one of the first ones that actually have a connector. Still missing this one here because this is a smaller panel. So I have to create a shorter version of the connector. We'll do that a bit later when this one here is printed. So in the end, we can move all of my empty Bamboo Lab spools to this side. Let's maybe start here in this corner. So you see this is fairly straightforward. And from a weight perspective, I mean, they are pretty stable. I mean, some of them broke, but this was due to some stringing problems or some extrusion, under extrusion, and also the material was kind of crap. So this is what happened with a few of the brackets. So the hooks basically just broke off, but this material is more rigid. It's also PLA. So this is the last one of the normal width. And yeah, we need the short version. I still also have this one here because one of the spool holders in this corner will still have to replace, the one that broke. And we're still printing the connector pieces here. So this is still has to finish on this printer. And now I can basically just move all of these spare spools over because actually want to have the filament on the other side. So the colorful filament should stay on the colorful wall. And the boring spools we'll just keep here, because this is also the side that you're usually not seeing that much. And I'm not even sure if I want to keep all of these spare spools. I'm currently thinking about, there is a respooler that I'm currently building. So filament respooler that you can use to move filament from, for example, these, yeah, some of the brands are still using these bigger spools, right? And this is not working with the bamboo AMS. And then a respooler or filament, automatic filaments respooler, where you can just put one spool on the one side and the target spool on the other side. That is quite useful. So I started building the most popular project that you can find on printables. So there is a quite popular project for that, a filament respooler. That's also a motorized version for that. So hopefully finishing that soon. But I'm still missing to print a lot of the parts, so that's why we're not doing it yet. But as soon as I have the parts printed, we can start building this. So the boring spools have been moved. So now I think I have one left here. It's actually, what is that? A master spool. So I basically moved away from the master spool system mostly. Because it's quite unreliable, honestly. So some bad experiences using that, honestly. Filament jumping off that spool quite a lot. Yeah. So what's going on? My nozzles are gone again. Is there a certain amount of time to use them? No. I don't think so. Maybe you did use them in the last giveaway. I'm not sure if you did. Usually they shouldn't be gone, right? They're not resetting. So you kept some? Okay. Weird. That's weird. Are you using the same account? I hope so. Nozzles. But yeah, we have plenty of time to gain new nozzles, I guess. Hopefully that's not too much that's gone for you. And I honestly can't tell you why, because it's usually not, we're not deleting anything in terms of nozzles. So they shouldn't disappear. So one of the other things here, I was pretty much like making good progress here on the side with creating mounts and attachments. So already have a couple of tools here, like cutters, knives, scrapers, caliper, the hammer, screwdrivers, another scraper, and a few fluid bottles. Still, I'm missing quite a few bottle holders. So we'll also start printing a few bottle holders tonight, so we can actually put all of the remaining things onto the wall. That means the 3D luck and the activator. They are pretty much same diameter, so we're gonna find one that works here. I think also the same diameter should work for my vacuum pump. That's for these filament bags. Yeah, let's get rid of the trash first. So this is all garbage that we don't want. So So where's my box for the filament garbage? I think I don't have it here. Where is it? Okay, never mind. So I think I have it in the garage. Okay, friends. So let's start with the creation of the shorter connector piece, which is still missing. So I've measured out the distance here should be, I mean, this is 156 and this is then 116, which is always like, oh, this is going to be a multiple of 20 that are the differences. Like every time you reduce by one hole in SKADIS, you're removing 20 millimeters. So distance is 20 millimeters between the holes, and that's why if our version currently is 156, then this is the one that I created from the longer one. Actually, there's the original version is even longer. So we are going to cut this 156 millimeter version into, first of all, I'm going to split it. And then we are going to reduce it by 40 millimeters. So I'm going to push this back by, here we go, minus 40. That's why, what are you doing? What's happening here? Minus 40? I think it's the... I think that the dimensions are wrong with this STL file. Okay, so it's multiplied by 10. I think that wasn't imported correctly. Never mind, it's this, we just reduced it. In terms of length, I'm gonna reconnect both pieces. And we are going to combine them again. So this should be the correct length. I think the dimensions are wrong when I imported it. Must be like something like x10. So we can export it, or we can just create a new copy of this. Save as 116. Okay. And then let's export this. Save as mesh. Should be done. So now we can import it into Bamboo Studio. And we are using, I think I'm gonna repurpose this one. And we are adding this shorter one. Yeah, is this 10x too large? So let's scale it by to 10%. I think I need to fix this in Fusion. So let's arrange everything. So for every single instance of this, we'll need 4 of these shorter connectors, and then we'll have 2 tubes here. That should be good. We also have some support here in the tubes for the bottom section, but it's only for the connector tubes. And once this other one is printed, I think in a couple of minutes. Yeah, 3 minutes to go for the long version, and we can then just start it. On the same printer, probably have to reload the filament. So that is for the shorter connector pieces. I'm going to start it in a few minutes. And then another job. Is it possible that the nozzles are gone when using just some in a giveaway? I wouldn't assume that, because you can basically decide what you're using, and if you're using all of them or just a few. I mean, Xyleon, for example, has 1590 nozzles. I'm not sure if Xyleon did use any in the last giveaway. That's very strange. I can check what Stream Elements says about this. Do you have any information on this loyalty point system? Loyalty. Settings. Multiplier. So there is no setting that says loyalty points. Like, it's the only thing that they say here is they will disappear if the viewer has been inactive on the channel for more than 1 year. So that's the only thing that they definitely say here on this page. Anything else shouldn't change anything. Okay. Yeah, so don't worry about that, hopefully. I hope this is maybe just a misconception that maybe some of you have maybe mistakenly entered all of the nozzles that you had, and you maybe didn't remember how many that has been. But like 80 nozzles is just almost nothing. It's almost nothing. Xyleon only uses one nozzle as always. You're saving it for some special giveaway, I guess. So print is done. Where's my... Did I put this trash bin? So we can immediately send over the new one, the short version. So we can use... So the build plate isn't cooling down. Printer is busy with another print shop. Not really. Can you please? Yeah, we've lost connection to the Wi-Fi. This is like this Bamboo Lab printer, sometimes losing the connection, all in for a printed hammer. That could be a contest, right? Who's designing the best 3D printable hammer? We're gonna vote for the best design. If I'm not wrong, we could create a contest on printables, for example, and hand out some prize, but that would also mean that it's public, but we can also do it here. The printer is busy with another... Yeah, that's because you don't connect to the network, and the router is right here. It's just there, next to... Maybe it's too close. Why are you not connecting to the Wi-Fi? It's so weird sometimes. So, sometimes rebooting immediately helps to fix this problem. And you better never ask why. I don't know, and it's weird. That's one of the things that Bamboo Lab, I don't know why they made the decision that none of the printers except the latest X1E has an Ethernet port, but all of the other printers don't have Ethernet connectors, and never understood why they made that decision. It cannot be that this is too expensive. I mean, I have lots of exceptions with other printers. I've seen lots of printers already that have an Ethernet port. And so that can't be, that's no excuse, right? So it's not like the $5 or I don't know how much the chip costs, or probably cheaper. And now they offer a printer that's like twice the price of the X1 Carbon. The only difference between that and the X1 Carbon is it has an Ethernet port and it has a heater, an internal heater for the chamber. But effectively, that's just a little fan that has some heating element. So it's like doesn't really justify, in my opinion, the price difference. And they only offer it through special retailers. Probably these people, these companies will take a share, but it's still like, it feels a little bit ridiculous to pay twice for such a printer and then have only these kind of little upgrades, which are, I mean, for sure making the printer better, but it's like really not justifiable, honestly. Can print higher temperatures as well, but I mean, you can also print super high temperatures with these already, so I'm wondering how much of a difference this is actually. Good, so we have the connectors done. Let's have them dry. What about network is back? Okay, you see, just turning off the printer helps sometimes. Okay, so is it ready now? Yes. So you should be printing the new connectors in a second. And we can replace, or we can basically just fill up the corner again, where we lost one of the spool mounts. So, done. I'm always wondering why these filament storage bags get punctured so often. And this one seems to be, I mean, I just was using the vacuum pump before we started the stream, and I was just getting the air out, and now it's already basically, air is coming back, and it's completely sealed. So that shouldn't happen, honestly, but I think some of the bags just come punctured or get punctured. It's just, I mean, I would say every 10th of these bags get punctured very early, probably when using them for the first time, or they are already broken. So we'll wait a few more minutes, see if this... Still, I'm pretty convinced that I did this correctly. Okay, so the next thing, I want to move my flexible filaments back here. So we have space now for those. So colorful flex filaments. And we have orange. And this bag here seems to be punctured as well. So I probably want to replace it if it's not holding the vacuum. So, some of you are still at work. I'm interested actually what you're doing, because like sometimes people have jobs that are absolutely not related to this hobby. Sometimes they are very well related. So I'm always curious to hear, like, what are you all doing at work? And has this anything to do with 3D printing, or is it technical, non-technical? My assumption is that a lot of people that are in this hobby are also having some kind of technical jobs. But I might be wrong, right? It doesn't have to be. But you can let me know. I'm interested. So next here for me is I'd like to find some holders or mounts for these cans here, and I have already a few things that I selected previously, and I also used them already. So we have a nice collection here on printables for these attachments for the filament wall. Started collecting all of these a while back, so it's getting more and more that I'm finding. And there is one system in particular that I really like. That's maybe interesting also for the ones that of you that are like generally looking into something for wall mounting stuff. So the SKADIS wall requires you to have these little pins here, right? Everything that you mount needs a pin to hook into the wall. That's also true for pegboards. And then the problem with printing those is that you always like have something that's sticking out from the back of the print, and then you also have a front element, of course, like something that's holding stuff. And that's why there is a couple of different approaches to fix this. One of the the obvious or the most simplistic is that you are printing the pins together with the actual holder. So this is one example where you have a print that has the pins already integrated into the part. So for some of the designs this works. Of course, for this kind of simple tool holder, that works because it's aligned in the same, basically it's just in the same layer, or it's in the same orientation, and you can print it like this. So it doesn't require supports. Now other versions or other things are more complex. And some people have had some clever ideas. For example, this one here, this is just a bracket for anything that either you can like lay it down like this. So I've used this for the tube lights and also for the little mini tripods. I've used them multiple times. And so this is designed so it can be printed without supports, but it doesn't have the hooks. And the only thing that it has is this little alignment piece, which makes it like basically easier to not that, so it keeps it from rotating on the wall. And then the hook is missing, but the hook is a separate part. This is the clip. And you just put it through the hole and then you would rotate it. So it makes it even more like sturdy in a way. So once you put it into the SKADIS wall, you just rotate it by 90 degrees and it fixes the whole part. And the good thing is you don't need supports for anything. And that's why this is at least one of the most interesting versions that I found. Everything that's using these T-clips. And there is a huge collection of things already that use the T-clip system. And there is, of course, hundreds of other designs that are more traditionally designed where the hooks are integrated into the part. But they mostly need, either you need to print them in a very specific orientation. Sometimes that's possible, but some of this stuff also needs supports. And it's not that, I mean, I don't like that so much. I really appreciate the versions that use the clips. So I have found a few things, and one of the best bottle holder designs is this here, because they are offering all these different diameters and super easy to attach with the T-clip system. So we just need to figure out which one we need for the different bottles here. And this is a 52. This is the glue activator, and I think the 3D luck is the very same diameter. So these are probably perfect for the 54mm version. Probably already have that on my computer, and we'll need some filament to do this. So let's make a new project and let's find some filament that we can use. So either we use the red that we already have been using here for some of this stuff, or we go with, can also use some other colors here, for example blue. This is also some spool that I already started using. So why not use blue? So we just have to tell the printer what color that is. So once it's ready, we can select filament type, generic PLA, color blue, doesn't really matter. We don't have a profile for this. Okay, so we have the right color selection. So, IT, JG is working in IT, kind of related. Xyleon is working in a laser lab and printing some adapter and sample holder. We have a Peak printer at work, but it's a pain to use it. Don't know the brand actually, what Peak is. I don't work now, but did work in IT, okay. So I see, we kind of related in terms of, this is something technical, so most likely people have been in a technical job when they started using this which I'm not actually surprised. Did I already download this? Probably not. Maybe not. So maybe it was on another computer. So let's get this, the 54 millimeter with diameter indication, new. Wow, what did they put some marking on there? What version did I use for the other bottles? Is this also 54? Yeah, must be 54. So everything gets a place here. 54 millimeter. Let's see what the diameter indication really means. So we have the bottle holder 54. We will print this probably 3 times because of it will also fit for the vacuum pump. So let's get this on the build plate. Is this the best orientation? Not sure. No, not, because it needs to be this way. And we also need to find... did we select the right printer? Okay, so let's reload colors. Yeah, okay, so that's the right color. What we want to do is, I'm not going for a crazy strong print setting, but I'm going for 3 while loops usually with this stuff. That's enough. And then we also need the clips. I think I have the clip somewhere here. I mean, I downloaded so many things recently. Here we go. So this is the clip. We could print multiple at the same time. Why not? So let's clone this. Okay, we can only clone a single part. Clone this 2 times. Clone this 2 times. And arrange. And so we should have now 1 for the pump, 1 for the activator, 1 for the 3 lock. And I think one is, how much is the Red Bull can actually? Is it smaller? I think it's also the same, very much the same. It's a good question. Still wondering if we have the right diameter. If this isn't actually too large. But this oil here is way bigger. Yeah, it's a couple millimeters bigger. So I'd say we'll definitely have the right diameter for these cans. So this is one thing that I want to print. So let's do this. Using generic PLA settings, 20 millimeter, 0.2 millimeter standard print settings. Anything else is pretty much standard. So we can kick this print off. And finally, what I also need and would love to have is for my AC glue and the glue stick, something. Or maybe some more generic box where I can put some smaller items in. But I definitely don't want to have boxes where it's like all kind of things are crammed in again, so I want to have things separated. What's the smallest thing that they have here? 36 millimeter is probably, oh, I don't know. Is this good? That's probably too large for the AC glue already. It's too large. So let's find something that's maybe for glue. I had a few things in my collection already. We had this, the Kundenkleberhalter top 2 glue. That's actually the same that I'm using, most likely at least. Yes. Someone German created this, obviously. How is it printing? Looks like it is. It probably has the pins, or is this the other system? There's a second system that's called the T-nut system, where you need some screw and another T-nut that also has an insert, so it's like quite a few pieces that you need. I don't like that too much, honestly. So I will definitely look into the remixes for the T-nut system to find something that is more a glue holder. Glue bottles, but this seems to be a huge one. Like probably for huge glue bottles. Glue stick holder. Maybe we'll find something smaller. And again, also want, yeah, that's another thing that we can also find here. I want something to hold my PS5 controller and also the Xbox controller. So I would appreciate to have that also. Let's find out if this is actually working. This looks not too bad. Based on what was remixed here, I'm not sure. Why has it been remixed? Universal game controller wall mount stand for IKEA, blah blah blah. Uses. Is this probably not the T-clip version? Yeah. Yeah, you see, this is the original that uses these hooks here. Integrated hooks, and to print this you will need supports. So we are wasting some material, and this is definitely less wasted stuff here. So let's go for this. I'm definitely going to print this, and I'm still looking for something for my glue bottles. Also printed the pen holder, which is working fine. But let's find something for glued, like box storage. Looks also nice. Bottle holders look fairly large, to be honest. 20 millimeters, but that could actually be. That could be the thing that I'm looking for. So we need one that is 20, 30-ish. Millimeters. So probably the 30 Magigoo mini torch. Magigoo. That sounds good. So we can use this one, this 30 millimeters. And for the glue stick, we'll need something that is 25. So 25. Probably this one here. So I guess we're gonna try these two different diameters, 25 and 30. We can also use 1 millimeter more, that probably doesn't hurt. I mean, yeah, I mean a little bit of, 1 millimeter larger is totally good. 20, 25, 30, 31. That's quite a filament collection, yeah, that's true. My K1C leveling sensor just arrived. Oh, was it broken? Was it broken? Actually, what is the leveling sensor on the K1C? I think is this the one that's here in the bed? That's the touch sensor or the load sensor that's below the print surface? Probably can be swapped out, yeah. And we're lagging again. I guess we're like a little bit lagging. I need to fix this problem at some point. I know where this is coming from. Why this lagging happens, I figured it out now. It's because the PCI slot where the grabber card is in the computer, it needs 8 PCI lanes and it doesn't have 8 lanes. I think it only has 4 lanes, and that's why this grabber card has issues to work with this 4-channel HDMI grabber. It just needs more. It needs more PCI lanes. Weird stuff. So are we printing already? Yes. Okay. So the blue things are printing. So last thing to do is we want to print glue stick and AC glue holder. Which color are we using? Let's go for another color. Let's get something. We have green already, we have red already. We are now using the blue. We can also use yellow. Or let's go with orange. What else do we have here? Still have some rest of, what's this? PETG, no, thank you. Not using PETG for that. Why not use, where's my Eco PLA? Here, the colors. Let's only have this. The yellow somewhere? Yes. Yeah, so let's use yellow. Four sensors. Okay. K1 Max. Yeah, probably these are the same sensors for all of the K series printers. Pretty much the same for everyone. Should be the same. So let's put yellow in this printer so we can print our glue stick and glue holders. I think the printer is actually off. Is it? Yes. So let's get this started. Great. So we said 25-30 millimeters. Let's try. I mean, let's try the 25. I'm curious if this is going to be the right diameter. If not, we can also just reprint it in 1 millimeter bigger. But okay, so let's create a new one. New project. Nope. We can keep the values, but we're going to use the P1P. The filament is here in this. Why is this still? There's no filament in here. So we're going to use PLA, default, generic, yellow. Okay, so let's sync. Let's put our file here. Okay, open, nope. So these are the two pieces for our glue stick and AC glue. We also need another 2 pins. Come on, pin. No, clip, T-clip. T-clip for printed, so painted. Here we go. Where is it? Here we go. Let's clone it. Okay, so I think we should be good. Printing that stuff. Settings look good. P1S, print it. And probably want to do bed leveling on this printer. It hasn't been used for a while. The printer is not consistent. Why is it not? Is it the wrong printer? P1P. So now it's the right printer. Blah, blah, blah. Send. So. Let's see if this works. Okay, downloading the print file. Nice. Great. So how are we doing? Our shorter connectors are coming out, so it's still going to take 1 hour. Here we go, and we are printing still 3 hours to go, and this one is 1.5 hours. So probably not gonna see this finished today, but we are on the way, right? It's all going to happen. So last but not least, I like to have these beautiful mounts for, let's put this in my collection. I want to have these little game controller mounts here. And we also need two. Already downloaded that. Okay, I see. So let's do this on. Okay, so I'm gonna repurpose, either we're gonna use a completely different color or repurpose the red. I would suggest that we use something fancy for the game controllers. Just wondering which tool we can use, because some of them are not working with the AMS. So all of these dual colors, we could use. What about the purple? That's nice. So let's use the purple material for the game controllers. Okay, so I'm gonna feed our little friend here. The leveling sensor problem, key 2529. I never had that. Did you get to know why this happened? And is this something that is this common for the K1C? Because of course I'm interested, because I also have this printer and I didn't have that problem yet. So we have to tell it that it's the right material here. Generic PLA, yellow. So it's getting a little bit louder. No, we didn't do yellow, right? We did purple. So let's go and create a new project. No. X1 carbon. Generic PLA, yes. Let's put the game controller mount here. And also the T-clip. And we're also printing two, because we have two game controllers. That's fine. What are you doing? Updating a profile file. Okay, let's print this on the X1 carbon. Bed leveling. I guess we can skip that. That's good. So, I think we're making some progress here. Things look good. First layers, as usual. On these printers, first layer is almost always perfect. Only exception is when sometimes there is some filament that is not being scraped off the nozzle tip, then sometimes you can have some issues, but usually never have issues actually with these printers. Okay, are we doing something here? Is it starting? Yes. So now all of the printers are doing something. The first problem was the bed went up and jammed, put 3 hole on the bed sheet. Oh my goodness. Posted on the Creative Forum. That's unfortunate. The printer really destroys itself. It's not good. So we are going to have mounts for the cans. Still probably needs one for the Red Bull. I also want to talk about this one here. This is the thing that I started, the project that I told you about. These little things here. These are hooks that I created, or actually this is one design that I created mostly last week and the week before. And I started printing these kind of prototypes in PLA to find the right shape, even though I measured everything, of course. And these are hooks for a Caravan window. So you can go and mount something on the outside of your Caravan window just by using these hooks. So I already have shown that. So this is how it works. Basically you have your window and then you have this kind of hook that goes over the window frame, and then you can hook stuff here outside of your window. And then you can also close the window. It still works because it has the same shape as this window frame or the window glass, basically. So it kind of pushes the rubber gasket a little bit, but not too much, so it's not really squeezing it hard. And so we can always close the window. But the problem with this kind of thing is it's not the shape now anymore, because I found the perfect shape already. Did a lot of prototypes with different infills, and then I started printing with nylon material, which is the white material that I've been using here, and figured, okay, nylon is pretty sturdy, it doesn't break, it's not brittle, right? You can also really pull very hard and it doesn't break, but I started with something that's called, I think it's Fiberlogy PA. That is quite rigid, but it's also quite flexible, right? You can really bend it. That makes it easy to put this over the window frame on the one hand, but also in sunlight, it gets a little bit softer. And so it starts actually coming over the window frame if you pull down very strong in the sunlight. And so I figured, okay, we probably need a different material, and we also need to make it a bit thicker, probably. First, I started just printing out different materials. So this is another nylon material, which is just another brand, which is made from old fishing nets, which is called It's a very weird name actually. It's from Filamentum, fishy filaments. So this is like kind of their internal brand for this kind of material. It's from Filamentum. It's called Porthcurno or Porthcurna. And so this is fishing net material that has been made into basically recycled fishing nets made into nylon material, pure nylon. There's no fibers mixed into this. There's also a fiber enforced version which is using carbon, but that's only available in black. This looks actually quite interesting because it's this greenish look. And this material is actually even stronger, right? It feels stronger and it's definitely less bending. So it's more like, it's less flexible and it's also less likely to start deforming in the sunlight. So this was an improvement. However, it's even harder to print, right? It's also warping a lot. So that's why I was looking for something, and I was always on the look for something that's usable outdoors. So it's usable in the sunlight. So you have not so many selectable materials that are usable for this kind of purpose. So the third one that I tested is, and I changed the design slightly also. So I have to basically print this in different shapes with these materials to figure out also, does the shape or the thickness also improve this behavior for any of the previous used materials. This is ASA black. I increased the thickness of the hook by 1 millimeter from 3 to 4. And also increased the width of the hook. So that was probably the more prominent change that I made. And I still have to figure out which of the changes is actually the one that makes it is the best compromise. Because making this thing thicker also made it a little bit more interfering with the window. So it was clearly just the 1 millimeter was already pushing against the window a little bit more, so you could really feel it. So I'm figuring out currently if increasing instead of using a thicker frame, using a wider version of the hook is making things better. So I'm gonna print a few variations now using even more materials. The downside of using, and these are all not fiber materials still. If you start using something like a carbon fiber material, the problem is the color choice that you have. Most of the time you only have black or gray or something like that. So I want to stay within probably preferable use ASA if it's the one that works better, because that is at least ASA is available in different colors, so we can also use white or something other, like yellow, blue, if people want that. And caravanning is usually something that isn't that boring in terms of colors, so there's lots of different colorful attachments available. So I don't want something black here for the hooks. I want something either white or maybe even yellow or blue, just to make it a little bit more interesting. So that's why I did this. All of these tests. So you see, this is how I'm working on a product, and this already took me a couple of hours to actually figure out a few, I would say, possible things that I can do or possible changes that I have to make. I'm still not done here fully. This is actually quite promising. This is super sturdy and was already in the sunlight and it wasn't deforming at all. Downside of this is it is very rigid, and putting this over the window frame compared to the flexible PA here, this is actually very easy to put it over, but this is way more, I would say, definitely more work. You have to push it much over the, you actually have to push the gasket quite a lot to get it over. So it is definitely not as easy. So yeah, let's figure this out. Still going to do a few prototypes, and then we'll next week having the final version done, hopefully. So we can talk about that a bit. What I'm going to do next in terms of trying to sell these kind of things. But this is actually going to be my first real product that I created. As funny as it sounds, I mean, I created other things already, but this is the one that is more, the first one that I would really say is for some end consumers, versus everything else that I did so far was always for companies, where they already like basically had some customer in mind, but they like, I'm not the person who is creating it and selling it to the customer. And this is going to be the first one that I'm trying. And there's a few other ideas that I'm going to do. So let's see how this goes. How's it going so far? Is your workday progressing as you as you like it? Let me do some music here. Let's see. The one challenge I've had so far is designing real components for my pegboard to hold an item I can't find on Thingiverse. Is it actually a real challenge for you? In terms of doing the design in some tool, or is it more like finding ideas? I'm interested. I'm always curious to hear, like, because some people tell me, okay, not sure how to do design in tool like Fusion. Okay. So good. That's interesting, because I always had, like, probably it's the assumptions that you make if you're in this hobby, that the assumption that I sometimes make is that a lot of people are already kind of into designing stuff. But then I sometimes get, okay, not everyone is doing that and doesn't have the time to do it, of course, but also like never used a kind of design tool at all. And that brings me back to like, okay, should we actually maybe do more of this stuff and help people to figure out how to do this in terms of educational videos or courses, I would say mini courses where you could start creating a few example things. I mean, there's tons of this out there, but personally, I never really did use kind of a course for learning this. Just started with, I think I started with Fusion 360 because it was the thing that had the most, I would say, advanced features, or it was like kind of a more industrial design. And I didn't want to use something that is as simple as Tinkercad, because I felt very soon I'm gonna reach the end of that, reach the like limitations very soon, which is true, which actually happened. And so I was kind of, I think the decision to go for Fusion, to learn Fusion instead of something more simple, was in the end turning out to be the right choice, because so often I found that I was limited by something. So like, and then, okay, already in Fusion, this is some things are challenging, and I can imagine that with even simpler tools, these kind of things that I ran into would be even more complex and more challenging to do with Tinkercad or something. But I could be wrong, but this is just what I figured. Brother P-Touch, I mean, I have some mount here. If you're interested, I have a P-Touch, this is 65 actually. And the mount is actually super simple. it is quite flexible because you can adjust the distance. These are two separate pieces, and it's very simple. It's just basically just two U shapes, very similar to these pieces here, which are also just like just some boxes basically. This is very similar, but you can adjust the distance and then you can fit this in quite easily. So I'm not sure if maybe this is the right thing. So it is in my collection. I think so, at least. Let me see. Do I have it? I can also post my link here because the link is public. This is my collection, but there's dozens of other collections out there, but maybe you can reuse that for the pegboard and just create a different, just modify that a little bit, or find one that is for the pegboard. But this is actually super simple, right? So it has these hooks here, and they could probably just be replaced by different hooks for a pegboard. And then if you look at this, this is actually so simple that you could probably find something else that's very similar and just repurpose that for the pegboard. Like if we look for pegboard, do you have pegboard? What's that? I think you mentioned that you had a pegboard and not SKADIS. Okay, we look for pegboard. Brother. I think that's how I found it. And yeah, it's not exactly what you need. Probably. But that's, yeah, I don't know the one that you have, but how the look and feel is, and how the shape is. But how is it looking like? PTM, is this similar to the one that I have? Brother. PTM95. What does it look like? Okay, it's quite similar actually. Yeah, it's more roundish, but it's like generally looks similar to the one that I have. Maybe it's a little bit smaller, but could also not be smaller. It's hard to tell, but it looks like a similar, like it's not actually that much smaller, to be honest. If I look at this picture, it's quite similar. So the thing is probably more, can you find something for the pegboard? So if you at least can modify the hooks, you could reuse this probably. On the other hand, if you have a pegboard canister or like some kind of box pegboard box or something, and you would just go and split this in the middle, right? So you just take this and cut it in the middle and then basically place the two pieces in the distance that works for your device. That's actually what this is about, right? This is very much the same that I have. Maybe not that stable because it doesn't have these additional, I think mine has like 3 hooks, so it's like vertically aligned and it's not turning. I'm not sure about this one here, but you can probably also find something that you can modify in this manner. Maybe something like this also. This looks actually quite promising because you could, let's see, if you cut this into 2 pieces, this could actually work. Doesn't look too bad. If you cut this in the middle, you could try at least to print these 2 pieces and then use them. Not sure about the size here, but you can also resize the stuff here. I think it's also possible. So I think finding something that can be repurposed for this kind of thing is absolutely possible. There's so many of these boxes here. I can imagine this something should work. Okay. Cyrus, hey, how are you doing? Nice to have you. Late. You're quite late. Okay, so let's get back to SKADIS. I'm just wondering if I still missed something. What else do we need? So we have the hammer holder over here. I think I collected some of the mounts that I also wanted to do. Sheet holder, yeah, that was one of the things that I was also thinking about. Sheet holder for the Bamboo Lab sheets, the bed sheets or other printer sheets. So let's figure out if we find something that works for the Bamboo Lab sheets first. That's always a pain, like I have these replacement sheets here, like, and they kind of don't have a nice place to put them. And there is probably some mount for this. Let me see. SKADIS. Bamboo, but that's probably just too generic. Bamboo plate holder. No, it's not too bad. Bamboo X1 carbon sheet holder. Okay, so we probably have to find one that is... let's see how they are different. What is this? Okay, so that's multiple sheets. How is it mounted? Just using little hooks, okay. Good. And this probably won't work with the T-clip system because you can't push the T-clip through here if you have these slots. That's probably a compromise that I have to accept, that we have supports here, but it's actually not too bad. What about this here? How is this different? Okay, that already uses some kind of insert for, so we don't have to use supports. That's nice. Okay. There's another one. And this seems to be only for one sheet. Is it? Or is it for multiple sheets? Okay, it's at least for 2 sheets. Let me see. Remixed model to fit the print sheet of Bamboo Lab. Okay. Well, I'm not sure. I have to look it up, like how many sheets do I have here? How many spare sheets? I think 1. And then there's these multicolor holographic ones that I have somewhere. I probably have at least 2 more. So let's see, let's say we have 3, so we probably need something for 3 to 4 sheets. So I guess 4x sheet holder. Question is, are 2 separated better than 1 that's connected? I think the one that's connected is probably more stable. Let me see. This one supports 4 sheets. The other one is actually also quite nice because it has this kind of different levels. So it's a little bit stacked. I think this one is not the stacked one. This one looked... If you have multiple sheets, you could have one in the back, and then the other ones are also visible. Like the back one is a little bit higher. Yeah, actually like that idea, because then you can also like see all of the sheets like behind one another. You can grab them probably a little bit easier. So that one is probably the most, let's say, functional in terms of having these different levels. This is similar. For 9 plates, this is too much. I don't have 9 plates. Probably never will have 9 plates. Don't need that. 3 sheets. So far, I mean, how many variations can you have? And we definitely need hot end holders. I have a couple of hot end spares. So this is definitely something that I also need to have here, which is one of the next things that we want to do. So I would say probably the best one that lets you see all of the plates properly is this here. So I would say I will just try this one and see how it goes. Up to 5, okay. I think that's good. Hello from Belgium, Eric Kennedy van Dam. Hi, nice. How are you doing? How's it going? We're just in the middle of printing already a couple of attachments. How does it look like with the glue stick holders? Already making some progress here. So glue stick holders are making progress. The connectors are still going like 42 minutes, 2.5 hours for the can holders. This one is going to be finished in an hour. And our game controller mounts another hour. So I'm currently printing all kinds of attachments for the SKADIS wall and want to make some progress there. And still have so many tools that I want to attach here. I mean, just to get this more organized. We also have 3. Now we can actually clean up the filament rack a bit. I was concerned about not finding stuff anymore because I like kind of mixed stuff up in terms of filament types. So one of the things here is we actually get stuff sorted properly. So one of the, like I said, okay, the less used stuff going to be on the uppermost rack, which is flexible filament, which I'm using very rarely. And then also what could go on the most upper rack is all of these carbon filaments, which are nice to have, but I'm actually using them very rarely as well. So we have PACF here. I think I have a couple of, is this also carbon filament? Hyper PLA, but that needs to be dried first. PLA, okay, so let's find all of these like kind of filaments that have fibers. So we want to put them on the uppermost rack. That's like, I mean, I use them from time to time, but actually quite rarely. Maybe for the prototyping of this hook stuff, but not so much. So let's find, is there any more carbon filaments here? I think I had some that I brought. There is also ultra ABS glass fiber. So that's very similar. ABS with glass fiber. Here we have PLA carbon fiber. which is still in the box, but you can also move that up. So we get some space here. But yeah, more carbon fiber filament, probably not really. Let's see, like, I think that is all just black, normal, hyper PLA, black, hyper PLA, black. So nothing with fibers. Then we have the wood composites, which are also fiber filaments. Also very rarely use them. Probably will do them for the next product that I'm creating. It's going to be based on wooden fiber. So we have like flexible filaments up here. We have carbon filament. One of the carbon filaments is in the bamboo, which you can also put up there later. Once this is, I've printed the hooks. We have the hyper PLA carbon. I need to dry that. I think that now we are pretty much full, except maybe one rack that's probably still left. But one or more, like there's probably going to be one or the other carbon filament spool that I still have somewhere, which also will go up there. And then we are already full. And then we have, next layer is, say the more commonly used is PLA. And I still mixed up some stuff here, probably not very much. This is all PLA, okay, this is good. Also, I think somewhere I had some PETG, which, yeah, this doesn't really make sense. We need to sort. I think sort PETG goes to the very bottom. Used to have some kind of separation of stuff. Actually, PETG is the material that I have the least, because I don't like it so much. I mean, it has a purpose, but honestly, PETG, I mean, there is so many other better materials already available that PETG is probably the material that I'm using the least. And I really don't see why I should use it more. So we have high flow filament. Maybe we should also keep some things separated in the PLA section. So there is PETG here. This is PLA, PETG. Sorry, this goes down here. So this is all. This is hyper PLA. So the question is, should I keep the hyper PLA in a separate section? Probably yes. So is there more PETG? That's the question. Honestly, this is all PLA. This is PLA. This is also something special. This is PVB. So let's have that there. Just to keep it for now in a separate place. PETG, anything else? I think not. I think you actually used up most PETG spools already. It's probably one of the Crosslink. Where is it? Is there any Crosslink PETG left? I'm not sure. Most likely I used Crosslink PETG. This is PLA. Yeah, I have to figure it out. So we have PETG down here. Maybe I'll find one or more spools of the PETG. Then comes ABSX. And then we also have the super special PA nylon. So I need to find a place for that. Great to be able to join the stream again. Yeah, happy to have you. I'm currently thinking about how I'm organizing the filament so I can find it easier. So I think I'm good here. We have the PLA, we have PLA here, we have Hyper PLA, maybe we'll put the hyper stuff we have here. We have Creality Hyper PLA. This is normal PLA. So let's keep the normal PLA here. This is PLA. This is Eco PLA. So what is this? Also normal PLA. So then let's have the hyper speed PLA up here, down here. This is normal PLA. Also this one. eSun high flow filament. Hyper PLA white. Okay, so this is all the Creality stuff. So let's move eSun over here. Hyper PLA. Hyper PLA. Actually, Creality sent me a bunch of Hyper PLA spools without telling me what I am supposed to do with it. So maybe they saw some of the streams and thought, we should send Daniel Filament without telling him, which is nice, but I actually didn't, at that time, I didn't have any idea what to do with it, because it's, I mean, it's PLA, right? So you can just do so much with it. So let's see. I hope all of these racks are holding. So the purple will go here as well. Why are they so thick? This is such a huge spool system here. So what else is left? We have Hyper PLA stuff here. This is normal white PLA. Not even thinking about color sorting or something yet. eSun PLA. So we can think about sorting colors at some point in the future. Not thinking about that at the moment. Fine with this for now. So eventually we might have to push the ABS material down as well. I think I can at least find stuff now. So I have PLA, ABSX, nylon, which is similar ballpark. You can probably put, damn it, where's my nylon filament now? Where did I put it? Hope I didn't mix it here. Why did I put it here? So this is nylon. I think we're pretty much good, at least for now. The only thing that I don't like is that we have some kind of mixing up ABSX with the PLA section. Still probably have to reorganize that. Okay, and we still have, I have a couple of spools here. Don't know why this is punctured again. Why is it not holding the vacuum? Probably have to throw away this vacuum bag, it's not working. All my filament spools are in 2 waterproof plastic boxes with desiccant, yeah. I'm putting a lot of the filaments now in these vacuum bags for long-term storage. Not every filament needs that, honestly. PLA, you can do it, but it's not that much beneficial for PLA. But for ABS, ASA, all the carbon fiber stuff, it's really the thing to do. But of course, if you put also PLA in these kind of vacuum bags or any other storage box, it might be helpful to keep it fresh. Actually don't have any long-term experiences yet with like PLA degrading over time. Some of the filament gets a little bit brittle over time, but that's more like filament, actually filament quality. And I actually had, for example, I had the eSun filament here and always in these kind of vacuum bags, and it still got brittle. And I don't know if this has anything to do with like humidity at all. I think it's more likely not having any influence. That's not the reason. Yeah, it's actually not that brittle. But this filament storage bag is definitely punctured. It's useless. So let's have other bags here, which are unfortunately are very large. Probably bought the wrong size, but we can try. At least they're much too big. So I'm not so happy with the choice. But at least let's try out if it works, and if not, I'm probably more likely to maybe I can still get smaller ones, but these are a little bit too large, honestly. So let's figure out if this works. I'd say for the more expensive materials, I would probably be using more expensive storage bags. I wouldn't mind. But the size is way too big. Law of the racking for the spools. Yeah, thank you very much. Does anyone have a recommendation for flexible filament brands for ABS? I like Nobufill. Yeah, ABS is definitely Nobufill, also for me. Flexible filament, I'm currently testing, I think this is the new one that I got here. This is what I'm testing for now. I think this is the Sun Rubber. I can tell you what it is. And once I have some experience, I can tell you more. So is this at least some solution that could work? I think these bags that I recently got are a little bit too large. They could work as a storage solution for something like more expensive materials for sure, then I wouldn't mind, give it more space. But it is for sure, for now, it's a little bit too much wasted space. But okay, it's fine. It's fine. I think I got the wrong size. So maybe we can use it for something else. But anyways, filament storage bags are the thing for having so many filament spools. The racking for the spools is done using a design that I found on printables, and I modified some of the connector pieces because I needed different sizes. So if you wanna see my SKADIS collection and the things that I'm using on my background wall, it's growing and growing, so we get more and more stuff is going into this collection. You can find it here. So this is already in the collection, yeah. So this is gonna be one of the next things to print, but I'm currently printing on all the printers, so except the X1. We could use the X1 Caravan for something. Actually, why not? Probably needs power cable because it has been disconnected. So let's see. I didn't use the K1C for a while now, so probably want to do some test print first, whether things are still working as we need. So what we need to do is then we need to figure which color we use. Probably we're gonna use the red one on this printer. We'll put it in this filament thing here, as long as we have it here. So I'm gonna send this to, I think, Osiris this week. He was the one winning this. Come on. I'm not hitting. Why is it not coming out? Just have to hit the right spot here. Okay, let's get this done. Come on. Not much space here between the printers, honestly. Bought like 30 of these bags from Ali, including the hand pump. I feel half of them lose the vacuum after some days, but better than nothing. Yeah, same for me. They are mostly from AliExpress, where they are the cheapest there. But yeah, some of them, I would say 10%, 20% of the bags are kind of broken or lose the vacuum or are kind of punctured. Not sure why. Toxic's father says, you have just said you modified files you found on printables. I only have the free version of Fusion, which doesn't allow all the steps to import them. Modify an STL. What software would you recommend to help modifying STLs? Yeah, that's true. Modifying parts with Fusion is... I mean, it is definitely easier with the paid version. On the other hand, you can register, and that's a tip that I would have for you. Instead of desperately finding something else, you can go to Fusion and say, I'm a creator. Yeah, I'm a startup. I don't know if they still have that. I think they canceled that. I'm sorry for that. That's actually not true anymore. They had this kind of startup program for 2 years where you could register as a startup and get at least the standard version for free. Still, I think with the free version, you should have at least the possibility to import. Let me see. If we create a new file, and we import, let's try this. So I'm just gonna show you the standard things. So you can insert a mesh file into a new design. We can take anything that we have here, like it doesn't really matter. So for example, the bottle holder. So this is a mesh file that you can import, and then you can question is always like, what is the actual what's the dimensions? You need to be careful. What is the dimension of the part? You can see this. You can also measure that out. But basically, you just import the mesh file into Fusion, an STL file, and then there is a mesh menu. And let's do nothing else but convert mesh. So we're not using any of the paid features, so to say. We just confirm I think faceted, right? It's warning us to like, okay, we have more than 10,000 triangles. Okay, so we probably want to reduce the mesh. This is also possible. Let's say we take only, where is it? So small here. Reduce. Okay, we can say let's reduce the mesh by to 25%. We can probably still use that. Getting some issues, so let's say 50%. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. But it's still, like, you will see, like with 50%, sometimes you will get some artifacts here. Nevertheless, you could also go for 10,000 and try it with that, but it just takes more compute. And then we can say convert it prismatic. What happens there is, forget about if it's nice or not. What it does, it basically converts this into a mesh body, from a mesh body into a fusion body. And from here, you could already start making some modification. Now, the problem with that is that it still has all of these triangles. It's not based on shapes, right? Not on cylinders and boxes and stuff like that. So it's still all of these triangle shapes. So that makes it harder. And you can basically go the same thing with Blender, which is also an option. So some of the modifications that I did, I used also Blender. So Blender is at least capable of working with these kind of mesh objects way easier. The problem still is that if you want to work with millimeter dimensions and like parameters and like distinct objects, I would say, like you want to push something into the object, or you want to push a side of the object, but you don't want to just use like something that Blender offers, which is more like a deforming, and it's kind of very much a flexible deform. If you really want to use construction tools, then Blender is not the thing that you would probably use. So Blender is totally fine to modify meshes or STLs, but it has also its limitations. It can also not reverse engineer a part into something that's based on primitives, as you might call it, right? Primitives is, basically a primitive is, these are all primitives, right? You have box, cylinder, sphere, torus, pipes. These are primitives. So if you want to work with primitives and you want the software to convert this into shapes that are based on primitives, you need a paid version. So that's why it's still possible to work with this and maybe cut it into multiple pieces or merge it with something. Or you can also use this as a foundation to reconstruct it and make a new version that's based on primitives, so you have an easier way to modify stuff. But yeah, so that's how far you will get. So let's get back to the mesh. And if you have the paid version, what I would do now is, for example, create face groups. I think that was wrong. Create face groups, and I would say accurate. So, and then it will already start. We'll try to identify surfaces that belong together. All right, so we'll start colorizing, for example, this inner part of this circle here, and hopefully make it in one color. That means already, okay, it will be able to make this into one thing, and instead of having like hundreds of triangles, it will be able to make that into kind of a circular object. And that can take a while, because now we have 10,000 triangles or faces, and it's taking a bit longer. And well, we didn't drop any frames, which is nice. Okay. Can you do this? So this takes some power. We'll see in a second how this result looks like. So this is not, we're not converting it yet into an object. We're just like identifying surfaces that could belong together, right? So it's trying to figure out which kind of triangles are in the same level or the same layer, if you want to call it, or the same surface. And once it's done, it should at least give us some color. Oh, it's not actually showing colors. Why is it not showing colors? Strange. It's supposed to be 84 different face groups now. I'm wondering why it doesn't show us the different face colors. It's a little weird. And now last step here is to make it into a object. Then you have a couple options. Even the paid version that I have doesn't offer everything. Organic is an option that I would have to pay for on top. But now the prismatic option is at least available. And that should, normally that works quite well. It sometimes also fails. That's the truth about this method, is that it not always gets you what you want. So you might think that this is already pretty good. You see what I mean? You have one surface here, right? We could already work with this, right? Because we have these kind of surfaces that belong together. That's nice. However, and that's the truth, it failed here on the inside. It didn't find the surfaces, so it's actually not a fully closed thing. So you see this is hollow. You can see the inside. And that's where it gets annoying, because now you would have to go back and fix some of these. There's probably a problem with the mesh. Some of the triangles might not be perfectly connected or whatever. So there might be some holes in the mesh. So you would have to go back and close all of the holes first, and then try this again. And then you will probably have some other holes that you find, and unless you have all of the holes closed. But this is already like, and ideally there wouldn't be multiple faces here, but that is already showing me, okay, there is some issues with the mesh. And that's with the original mesh that we had to start with. But you see, this is how it generally could work. And some objects I'm super lucky, because nothing has to be done. Everything works just out of the box. Yeah, and sometimes you have these weird artifacts here, which are not explainable. These are caused by the rendering of the STL file, and it can't just figure out what to do with it. So it's even not perfect in the paid version. It's not always working. So you can, like, now this is pretty much useless to me. Like, I can't really start working with this. I have to fix all of these issues first before I can actually use it. So it's not really nice. That's why, I mean, you can't see the problem here, but there is something wrong, and that's what you have to figure out. And that's time consuming. There actually Blender is the better program to do that first. Blender has all kinds of methods to fix holes and like things like that, and identify these kind of problems. But nevertheless, it can be quite painful. That's why I always appreciate when people post step files instead of STL files, because I never got the point why people just post STL files. Because step files, I mean, honestly, if you have something that's under a certain license and you post a step file, I mean, what's the point of not posting the design file? Is it like people are afraid that someone steals their idea? I mean, they can also just steal this STL file and reverse engineer the STL. It's more work, but what's the point, right? It's supposed to be open source. And that's why I'm saying STL open source STL files. So that's the point of STL files being open source, right? It's the step file should be open source, not the STL file. The STL file is something that's an artifact, right? It's not the source. But yeah, back in the days, I don't know, people have gotten used so much to STL, and probably 99% of people don't never modify any of these files. That's the truth. That's why probably never, so many people complain never about this, because they actually have no intention to actually modify anything. Right, so it's the truth. Good. So what we wanted to do is figure out if this printer is still rocking. So let's just print the standard Benchy file. At least we're gonna start printing. No, back. Where's my Benchy? Trailer page. What's the trailer page? Okay, so just figuring out if the printer is fine, because I haven't been using it for a long time, so that we can see if the K1C is at least working fine before I put something serious in there, and then we'll try to render the file for the printer, so we can get some bamboo plate holders hopefully working printed on this printer. Cylinders, holes, I would always delete and redo manually. Yeah, makes sense. It's just easier later to work with them, right? For mechanical parts, I struggle with Blender. I mean, that's exactly the point, that Blender isn't a construction software for functional things in the first place. Loud hissing, yeah, loud hissing, you know why? Because the printers are running. I know that. I'm very sorry about that. Currently it's quite noisy in here, so I'm not sure if I can... I figured this... I had this figured out last time, that there is actually some kind of filter. I was looking for that. Didn't really find it. But yeah, let's give this a try. Let's give it a try. Sure if it's better now. Every time I speak, it seems to be cancel. What is... So there's a high pass filter. Probably want to do a low pass. De-esser. Maybe the de-esser is going to... Is the de-esser something that we can use? Noise gate. Let's try the noise gate. So, is it better now? That we have some... Are we filtering out more of the noise? I'm wondering. Okay, so let's see if this actually gets better. So I'm trying to push the noise filter a bit. Sounds the same, okay. Every time I speak, it's probably the noise in the background. I'm not sure if this is able actually to filter that out. So let's see if it can filter out stuff. This is high pass filter. I'm wondering if it's now filtering something out. Now it seems to be filtering out less, and now it seems to be filtering out more. If I'm not mistaken, at least something. But it's always difficult if you have something like printers running in the background to filter out the noise. It's It's a very good question if that works. So now noise gate is off, noise gate is on. Okay. At least when I'm not speaking, it should filter stuff out. Okay, so let me try to speak and see if anything gets filtered out. Frequency 200. Okay, so it's probably not working. Okay, I'm not sure if this can actually be done here on this processor here. It's a good question. Okay. Yeah, probably since the printers are making some very, broad noise, it is I'm not sure if the Procaster can actually really fix that. Can go for advanced, disabling advanced, will reset like cancel. Okay, we're already in advanced mode, so it's like not working. But yeah, let me see. Next time we'll probably have printers, not so many printers running at the same time, so we're not gonna have this. So yeah, noise level there's a constant noise level in the background, if I'm not wrong, right? Oh, that's better. So that's changing the way how my voice will sound. So it means the voice is, you can hear me, you can probably hear me now. And when I'm not speaking, there's not going to be noise. But as soon as I'm speaking, you will hear the noise. Like, so that's just a threshold when things are going to be silent. So let's try something else. We're gonna filter so we're gonna try to filter out some of the high pitch noises. Not sure if that changes anything. So it's really not middle, it's really high gain. So we're gonna pull down the noise there. Difficult to hear this. Okay, so I hope this sounds a little bit better. So now we can also activate the noise gate again. And so it might sound a little bit weird now. So my voice is definitely changing a bit, but I feel okay, at least the noise is a little bit reduced. I hope this helps. That was some heavy equalizer work to do here. Nice. So far, the best compromise of body design and mesh modification features is for me Onshape. Yeah, Onshape I heard this is actually not too bad. I think I've tried it once, but I don't know. I was never getting my way into it, so because of the online thing that I think it's not available offline. So it was like, I want something that also works without internet. Probably more traditional in a way. So I want something that also works like on any place, and then I can sync my stuff. Yeah, but I think from what I've seen, this is very similar in terms of the features that it has. Not so far away. Let's see. Will we finish anything tonight? I think our glue stick holders are still 8 minutes to go, so we're gonna see them. We can try them. That's great. The bottle holder still 2 hours to go. This is the connectors. That's great because we can then use this printer for something else. So these are the new connectors for the last. Is the camera still on? Oh, why is this already overheated? This camera always gives me pain. Is it working now? There we go. So at least for a couple of minutes it should work. This is only one camera. It's always overheating. So why is it happening? I don't know. So let's glue the pins in. And so we have this ready. The last pair of connectors I have to do. Damn it. Forgot that there is still support here. 1, 2. So let's get this done. So the super glue is drying. Let's close this bottle. Last time I forgot to close the bottle and then came back, I don't know, a couple days later, and it was completely dried inside and wasted a bottle of this glue. So that's unfortunate. So we have, here we go, we have the last two holders. Damn it. So I want to insert the connectors. And this goes up here, perfectly matching. Size is exactly what we need, because that is a little bit shorter here, the last row of panels. And we can, yeah, I have a couple more bamboo spare spools, so this is done. One achievement done for tonight. Personally, I don't feel comfortable using something like CAD via browser with all their vulnerabilities, privacy issues, etc. And it just feels wrong and inefficient knowing what kind of resource hogs browsers are these days. Yeah, I mean, this has pros and cons. I definitely see this. I agree that the browser, you can do it anywhere. There's no software installation. What is this printer actually doing? Is this printing spaghetti? Why doesn't anyone tell me that this printer is not doing the print? No one of you told me that the printer is doing shit. It's printing nothing. It's just doing spaghetti code here. It's just, I mean, you should be watching this. No, seriously, Creality has no working AI, even though they claim that they have some intelligent features on their printers, but it's truly not working. I have tested this on multiple different printers and it's currently not really reliable. It doesn't really stop the print. So why is it not this build surface? Maybe, do we have to clean this? I don't know. Let's clean the build surface first before we do anything else. I don't remember how long it has been sitting there, or even if I touched it or something. So we're going to use some alcohol to clean it. And then we'll start too small, too busy. Okay, so let's try this one more time. Let's assume that this will solve the problem. I will go into, where do we go? Orca Slicer, which is probably not the latest version anymore, but it doesn't matter. Probably it doesn't really matter. So I will download these two plate holders. Let's do this. Let's see if Orca Slicer still remembers my K1C. It does. Generic, we'll go for standard settings, strength, 3 wall loops. Yeah, that's right. Not going to change any settings first. So let's get these plate holders. It's not one thing, no. Arrange. And probably we have to reorient stuff. This is good. So what we need to print this is probably supports. Let's figure out. I think it's gonna be good if we just enable the normal automatic supports. Looks good. Probably want to separate this a little bit. Okay. Looks like a toaster, but it's a it's a holder, or it's gonna hold my Bamboo Lab sheets on the IKEA wall. That's the purpose. That's why it has these little slots here. Looks like a toaster, yeah. That's true. So let's just go with this and print this. The printer should hopefully do this now. Yeah, the print file is already here. If you can, on your small screen, you're not gonna see it, but it's already here. Now I'm really curious if it's going to be sticking to the build surface. And probably the loudest printer is done because it is the P1P, which doesn't have an enclosure. So let me do a quick sound check now. How's the noise level now? I think it's a little bit better now. Problem is, let me see, the noise gate is yeah, so noise gate is working, but it's also, I think it's, if I'm speaking, we can reduce it a bit. We can, so it doesn't sound that weird. So what else? Yeah, no, it sounds pretty weird still. Okay, but let's keep it like that. It's a little bit reduced now. Okay, is the printer? Yeah, it is currently cleaning the nozzle. There is a little procedure that puts the nozzle in the back of the print sheet, rubs it against it, so it's cleaning the nozzle. For this printer, we should be good. It's printed these two little holders here, which is supposed to hold. Let's figure out if this works. First one is, this one here should be for our glue stick. And it is too small. I should have gone with one more millimeter. Damn it. Let's see if the glue stick fits in. That's the thing, right? It's like just too, like I measured it out and was like very close, but it's not, it's too small. It's just a little bit. Maybe you can just still fit it in, but yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. Out of curiosity, last room's giveaway, are you shipping it or it comes directly from Creality? I'm most likely going to ship it. I'm still, like, on Creality side, there has been a change of my counterpart there, so I'm gonna get in touch with them soon. I've already written them about future projects, so I can clarify that if they are willing to send it to you directly, so otherwise I'm gonna send it to you. So unfortunately, these are just a tiny bit too small. I can imagine I can still use it for something else, but for now I have to go and find the ones that are a little bit bigger. I was thinking they should work in a probably just too tight fit. Let's see, where is this? I've added it. Where did I add it? Is it not here? I hope I didn't forget to add it to the collection. That's strange. Why is it not here? Let's reload this. Ah, here we go. So I did download the 25, but probably the 26 millimeter is the better one, unfortunately, and also the 31. It's very, very little difference that we need here. Only just 1 millimeter. Filament failed to pull back filament. For which printer? Which printer are we talking? Which printer are we talking? Here. Failed to pull back filament. Really? What's wrong? We try. What has happened? Well, it is working. Must have been some weird problem. So this print, you can't see this right now. This print is also done. This was our. This is the instance of the controller mount. Where is it? I'm looking at the wrong camera. So this is the controller mount. That looks fairly well. So I'm gonna see if this works. So actually we got 2 prints done, which is great. So let me figure out if this works, regardless of this is going to be the final position or not. I don't care at the moment. Just want to see if it's working. Yes, it's working. Put the second one here. Xbox controller. Nice. I think you can't see this from there at least. But here you see controllers are, the controller ones are working. If that's going to be the final position, I have to decide, but I wanted them to be placed somewhere safe so they're not flying around. And okay, so this is done. Here we have the first layer coming. The first layer is printing, and it's really looking nice. I'm not sure what the issue was before we started. Probably it was really just cleaning the build plate. That looks perfect. Perfect first layer on the K1C. Why not the first one in the first place? So let's go back. Let's create a new project. No, we don't want to save. You want to switch to the P1P. Use modify the values. And P1P, my friend, not device is the P1P. Resync, okay. Generic PLA in yellow, that's right. And we will use the 31 millimeter and 26. and wasted some filaments, but that's unavoidable, obviously. You try out stuff. So I'm not gonna throw them away. Maybe gonna use them for something else. Let's see. Maybe some little, I don't know, printer nozzles or something might fit in there. Okay. Why did the filament spool come down? So, this printer is doing fine. Still 1.5 hours to go with the other bottle mounts. Good. And this is done, so we can not gonna start something new on this one. Okay, great. We made some progress tonight. Just to recap, we fixed this rack here in the corner, which was broken. We also, is the camera now still working? We also attached all of these filament spools, which are empty. It's just spare ones. Great. We also printed 2 mounts for my controllers. Position to be discussed. We're still printing bottle holders for these cans here. That's going to be done in a couple of hours. And we kind of made the wrong decision with the diameter of these glue stick holders and glue holders, but we're printing smaller ones now. So also going to be finished tomorrow. And that's basically the result of this evening, which is I'm pretty happy with. SKADIS board are printed or made out of IKEA wood. Yeah, that's right. I basically just I think it's wood powder or like kind of Pressspan as we call it. So like basically chip wood that's been pressed and glued into a new form. And pretty cheap actually. But this isn't wood, this is plastic. So this is all 3D printed. All of these panels are 3D printed. And I've told the story already in the beginning. I basically had choice of buying the IKEA panels or printing them. And I made, like said, okay, the IKEA panels are actually not cheap, to be honest. They're quite, I would say if you buy that many panels for that kind of size of wall, it's going to be super expensive. So that's why I said, okay, I might rather just print them and create a version that fits the bamboo print area perfectly. So I created my own version of this panel with some standoffs, so we can like basically also compensate a little bit of the inequalities of the wooden wall that's behind this. And also the fact that there is actually a window here, which I also had to cover with another wooden panel before I could actually mount the plastic panels on top. And so, yeah, printed around about 150 of these plastic panels for this studio installation. Right, so that's the story here. And you can find the panels also on my printables profile and different sizes. So if you want to do something similar. Is this printer doing something now? Okay, it's just starting, so it's gonna get a little bit louder again. I would say with that, I'm going to leave you for the day or for the night, for the evening. It was really nice chatting with you, doing some stuff in the workshop, getting some things done. And I'll keep you posted on my Instagram account and also like with the short videos that I'm currently posting a little bit more often, honestly, if you don't mind. I'm gonna give you some progress updates there about what's happening, how it's going. Little sneak peek. What's one of the next things that's gonna happen here? I've got these Finally, they have arrived. Sobo sent the SV08 nozzle adapters for Sobo nozzles. So these are basically the SV08 nozzles, but no nozzle is inside of this adapter. But here are the nozzles that we're going to use. And also PCBWay sent me my Revo adapter for the SV08. So it's like going to make some good stuff with the SV08 very soon. Gonna continue. So have a good night, have a good day. Enjoy your weekend. Also, if you don't see each other before next week, have a good night, have a good week and a good weekend. But as always, I'm gonna post some more little updates in the meanwhile. So we're gonna stay in touch and come back next week. Bye bye.